Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome back after Thanksgiving. Nobody looks any fatter. Okay, we are calling, what is today? The January 27th meeting of the Las Vegas Centennial Commission to order. What did I say? I said January. Am I in good shape? That is without alcohol. Okay, November 27th, 2023. But I have something in my eye. Sorry. My mouth, too. Okay, so, Madam Clerk, are we in compliance with the open meeting law?
Yes, we are.
Thank you. And may we have a roll call also, please?
Yes. Chair Goodman?
Here.
Commissioner Bryan?
Present.
Commissioner Arnold?
Here.
Commissioner Stodel?
Present.
Commissioner Brown?
Present.
Commissioner Coffin?
Here.
Commissioner Hilton? Present. Commissioner Sanook?
Here.
Commissioner Mowbray?
Present.
Commissioner Truesdale? Commissioner Brandenburg? Commissioner Creer?
Present.
Commissioner Mills? Commissioner Prado?
Here.
Commissioner Diaz?
Here.
Thank you. We do have a quorum.
Wonderful. Thank you. And all welcome back. Thank you. You all look wonderful. I'm looking to my right. You look wonderful down this side. And you look fabulous this side as well. So wonderful. Okay, agenda item 3, public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. If you wish to be heard, please give your name for the record, and the amount of discussion as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. And seeing none, we will move on to agenda item 4 for possible action to approve the final minutes by reference to the special meeting of September 26, 2023. May I have a motion?
Stodel for the record. Move to approve.
Thank you. This motion is second. Please all signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good. Agenda item 5, report by the City of Las Vegas Finance Department staff regarding the Commission for the Las Vegas Centennial Budget, fiscal year 2023.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Commissioners and Mayor. My name is Quinn Oshakowski. I'm the Financial Services Manager for the city. And today I'm going to give you an overview of where we stand with the Centennial Commission finances. I believe you have a handout that's been given to you with the finances. The first sheet that you have there is kind of a picture of the grant awards are in the first column that you've approved so far that are outstanding. In the second column is the budget for the Las Vegas Centennial, and you will see the projected revenues that we had going into the year that we budgeted. And below that, you will see the remainder of those grants that have been given that still need to be dispersed. So there's a total of $1.8 million in revenues that we had projected. We have $2.9 million in outstanding awards. And the next line below the awards is general administrative cost of $231,000 that we had budgeted. The change that we would have in our assets revenues minus the expenditures would be taking away $1.4 million approximately of our balance in funds or the assets of the Centennial Commission. When we ended the fiscal year 2023, we had $6.595 million in the Centennial Commission. Taking away that amount, it would leave us at the end of the year with $5.2 million.
Wow.
So the next column there are the actuals that have been spent and received so far this year. So far, there's $544,000 in revenue. $455,000 of that is coming from license plate revenues. We are actually doing much better on our investments this year. Interest rates are up, and we're taking in quite a bit more in interest revenue, so that is $85,000 versus we had expected $10,000. and we expect that trend to continue. Not much has been expended so far in the first quarter of the year, so we've only expended 206 on the grants that are outstanding. So really, right now, we're in a positive position as far as gaining on that cash balance until we continue to disperse funds.
Hold on for the record, quick question. Take, for example, the El Dorado documentary.
Yes.
No funds have been given to the grantee at this point?
So far, there is only $18,000 that has been given to them.
And, I'm sorry, yes, and this is 18, this fiscal year or total?
So this is this fiscal year. So we ended on June 30th, 2023 was the end of our fiscal year 2023. And now this is from July 1st, 2023 until now, October 31st.
Okay, I want to re-ask the question a different way. They were awarded $259,000. Have they received anything more than the $18,000?
They have not.
Okay, so is this third column here, is that cumulative that we have given them, or just fiscal year?
Just fiscal year disbursements.
So where would I find a cumulative that they have been paid out of their original grant?
So the original grant was for $259,000.
Yes.
We carried over $235,000 that was yet to disperse to them. And of that 235, we've dispersed 18,000.
And that's because we operated the city on a July 1, 2023 to June 30, 2024. So the grant is on the city's fiscal year,
Right.
which is why you have that 239,995 remaining.
Correct.
Right, and I think the reason I brought that up is that in past presentations, there's been a request that an additional column be added to this to show the total amount that has been given to the applicant already.
Okay.
I mean, we can do the math.
Isn't that the third column? We have given them 18,073. That, if we go to the top actuals as of the 1st of November. That column's what's been dispersed during this fiscal year.
Yeah,
That
unless-
middle, that's it, period. But the grant is over on the left, and what we budgeted is the second column, and the end is taking the remainder through the end of June of '24.
So 217 from 259 is $42,000. Am I doing that correctly?
You're doing that correctly.
Okay, so I was hoping there could just be a column. I don't mind doing the math. It helps me mentally stay alert, but there was some, I know there was a request by other commissioners that we have a fourth column if that was possible, but if it's not, we'll just do the math. Thank you.
No, we can definitely do that for you. And add a
And what would
column.
be in that fourth column?
So you're crossing over years, and I think what he's asking for is in total, because we crossed over the years. So we originally gave them 259.
Right.
And last year we gave them a part, and this year we're giving them a part. So
Okay.
he's wanting to know total disbursements,
Okay.
which, yeah, we can do that.
Thank you.
It's bad when it crosses over years. Yeah,
Okay.
there's a little math to it. So I understand.
Any
Mayor, I
other
have a question,
questions?
if I may.
Sure,
Yeah.
please.
When I look at the top of this, the budgeted amount was $1.8 million. Am I reading that correctly?
You are correct.
And then what we actually, I guess, got from the license plate renewal was 1.4 million. The last column over, am I reading that correctly?
No, that is the remaining budget.
That's
And
what?
And the last column is the remaining budget, so we expect to receive another 1.344
I guess what
million.
I'm trying to get at is, how is the revenue stream holding up? As you know, this program has been very, very generous and continues long after the original issuing of the plates. Is the cash flow that we're getting from the renewals and any new plates that we're selling, is that holding up pretty well, or is it declining? I guess is the question I really have.
I'm actually going to talk to that in a little while as far as where we stand, as far as are we continuing with the license plates issued and retained that we've had in the past. And so I do have a sheet later on that will show that. But as far as revenues go, I have a second sheet behind here if we're ready to move on.
Well, we have a comment from Member Arnold, please.
Actually, this might be more for Diane, but it's in the same sphere here. At what point, what triggers you to bring a grant back to us for discussion time-wise? In other words, let's say the grant that Stoddall was talking about, if it extends to a certain amount of time and they still haven't drawn down what we expect, what triggers that to come back to us for another look?
Well, Seabrant, for the record, every grant agreement has a date of when the project needs to be completed by. If they don't complete it by that date.
I couldn't remember the process, so in this instance, where are we as far as timeline?
She's working on it, and some organizations ask for the money monthly, some organizations ask for the money at the very end. We don't require it to be any specific way. As long as they just show us proof of payment, then we'll pay them back. So that particular project is going fine, and there's not any issues, and she does bill us, so we're
But
still
unless we
expecting
have a
more.
discussion about it here and say, okay, you've got 3 years, the standard is,
Sorry, say that again? I'm sorry.
unless we have the discussion here on an approval, and we say, you've got 3 years to do this, what is the standard? Is it a 1 year?
So it's whatever this commission agrees to when the grant proposal is presented. So if it's a 1-year grant, they have 1 year in which, from when they were awarded the grant to finish the project, unless they say it is going to take them additional time. So on the grant proposal, everybody is required to provide a timeline, and that timeline is when they anticipate their project to be completed. We use that date.
And this is Seth Floyd for the record. This is something that we didn't used to have a date in our agreements. It kind of became an issue, as I recall, during COVID when there were a lot of extensions requested. And so Diane has working with the city attorney's office, we've really focused in on trying to put those timelines in place so that you kind of do have an expectation of when those funds will be used. And then if they're not, it could come back to you for a decision on whether to extend that time or to go ahead and cancel that grant.
Fine? Thank
Still
you.
low, but is there a starting point? I mean, is 1 year the beginning, and they say, no, this is going to be a 2-year deal, and then you look at it? Or do we start with 1 year?
It's in the grant guidelines that the project needs to be completed within 12 months.
Within 12 months, okay. And then, of course, if there's something extenuating, they could come back.
Right, and they can ask for further time. And as we've already awarded several multi-year grants already, after a discussion that Commissioner Creer had asked for, we have done several multi-year grants. And again, it's whatever that end date is, regardless if it's 1 year or 3 years, is what we go by.
I don't want to get too down in the weeds, but if we extend it a year, does it have to come back before this commission? Or is that something that administratively you can do?
If we want to extend it, or if the applicant asks to extend it?
The applicant sends in a note saying we're behind, we need another 6 months or another year. Can you administratively do that, or does it change the contract and have to come back to us?
We always do ask them to come to the commission to get
Okay.
the approval.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
This is
Member
Louise
Helton.
Helton for the record. Diana, I just wanted to clarify with the multi-year grants, they would have to do multiple events. For example, if the Duck Duck Shed, we do a multiple-year grant, and we give them we give them the total amount possible, they do have to do one every year. They can't just wait till the end and spend all the money at one time.
Correct, they have to complete each project. So if it's
Okay,
a
so there
multi-year,
is
they
a
have to
timeline.
complete project 1 during that year, project 2 during the next year, yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think those are the questions at this point. If you'll continue, thank you.
Okay. The second sheet, I believe, was a request from the last meeting to show the revenue over time from the license plate and other revenues for the Centennial Commission.
Yes.
And I think by looking at this, what you can see is that it's been pretty steady as far as the revenues coming in right around that $2 million mark every year.
And except, I'm sure, on the Vegas Golden Knights, that was an outburst because of the Stanley Cup.
You know, I have the next sheet, which actually shows the license plates issued over the last 3 years and where they stand and where Centennial ranks. I think you have to look at two things when you look at this. You need to look at total as well as the percentages, because as population grows, you know, you have more people to disperse over the different types of license plates. But the third sheet, it's got 2021, 2022, and 2023 as of October 31st, the license plates issued. And you can see that Centennial has really stayed around the 80,000 license plate issuance. So it's really held at that about 22-23% range. And that's with the addition of the Raiders, which is highlighted below the Centennial. They're right at that 10% and kind of staying at that 10%. And if you flip to the backside, the Vegas Golden Knights are on that. And they picked up a percentage point this year, but, you know, really Centennial is holding with the issuances.
Wonderful.
Your Honor.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yes, Member Coffin, please.
One thing to consider also is that each month, 1/12, if you want to just, you know, smooth it out and say 1/12 of your registrations happen every month. Since the VGK won the Stanley Cup, we've only had, well, you can figure some renewals in July, but August, September, October, November, 4 months is all of renewals where they have a chance to switch from something else.
They have the chance, that is correct.
Yeah, and so that, a kind of thing like that's an earthquake
Yeah.
on a chart like this, so.
Yeah. No, and we'll
If it's
continue.
already gone up to if it's already gone up 5,000 this year, then, and it has, hasn't it? Then it's going to go up more. I'm talking about the VGK. And it's really not necessarily at our expense.
No, and
But we
that's,
should be aware of it. It's in the news, it's going to take a lot.
yeah, no, and
It
we'll
might
continue
even
to monitor
remove
it.
the Airport Managers Association from the list.
Okay, yes, Member Houghton, please.
Thank you for this great report. This is Louise Helton for the record. I was just curious, though, with the income. I thought we were getting some income from the YouTube plays, that the city was getting the majority. I thought we were getting some. Is that not correct?
I don't believe that's correct.
Okay.
Sorry, can I just weigh in here, the superintendent for the record? Yes, we are getting those numbers. We'll have it for January. There were some issues that we needed to sort out as far as how to get it into the bank, but it is generating revenue.
Yeah.
That update will be in January.
Okay.
Well, again, it's wonderful that both Member Helton and Member Coffin got this thing moving in its original year, and we thank
And
you.
Bob.
Of course, Member Coffin also is responsible for that plaza across the street coming to be. That was another thought of his, so wonderful.
One
Yeah.
last question.
Yes.
I don't know whether I understood the question, but is the YouTube funds in here, or is this just license plate? Is that why? That's what I thought, and I didn't quite understand the answer.
So, correct. So the films that are on YouTube,
Right.
they are generating revenue.
Okay.
That comes to the city, and there was agreement signed between the city and the commission as far as having that monies. It just happened over the last couple weeks.
Okay.
So Quinn is filling in for Kathy, so he's not
Okay.
he's not as involved in the budget on this commission. So when Kathy's back next year, I guess, we will have that update for everybody on what's generated from the YouTube.
Great, and as part of that, I haven't looked at it in a while, and I know we made an adjustment in the commercial load. There was a point that the commercials were about every 5 minutes and was really interrupting the flow, and I know that we voted to reduce that, or the communication department was reduced that to a more
Yes, communications department asked them to reduce it.
practical.
Yeah.
So if we could get an update on that, to be helpful as well.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Quinn, thank you. Unless there are any more questions, Well done, thank you, even though she said that Kathy does great. All right, we'll move on to agenda item 6. Final report by staff from the Community Development Department regarding the report on where the living is easy, an architectural survey of the Charleston Heights neighborhood, an area roughly bounded by South Rainbow Boulevard, West Charleston, Vegas Drive, South Valley View, funded by the Commission for the Las Vegas Centennial in Ward 1.
Thank you, C. Brent, for the record. So this is the final report for the Historic Research Survey that the commission funded. As you can see that it was a very large survey that looked at over 4,000 parcels, and those were all houses and commercial buildings between 1954 and 68. They were assessed, and the results were that the neighborhood was determined to be relatively intact. And the best part of this report that Katz Environmental did for us was the identification of potential historic districts. One of those districts is called the Cliff May Ranch Homes, and that's within that neighborhood, built in 1955. And we, through our Historic Preservation Commission, we are working on an intensive level survey for that Cliff May Ranch Homes neighborhood and meeting with the neighbors in order to hopefully get them on the City of Las Vegas Historic Property Register as another historic district. And that, any questions? Happy to answer.
Yes, questions? Member Stoddall, please.
In the, Diane, in the agenda memo, it lists $50,000. What was the total? 50,000 came from this commission. What was the total for this, for the initial? I know they're doing the Chris May, or the May report, but the total for this document?
So this was in support of a grant that we received from the State Historic Preservation Office. And the total was, I think, 75,000, but we did not use the entirety of the 50,000. What did we use, like 30,000, 30 some odd, 35,000. So we were able to return some of the money back to the pool, the commission's bank.
But the state kicked in some funds, right?
Correct, yes, they, I'm sorry, I don't remember how much that grant was. I'm thinking it was maybe, I think it was 30,000.
So roughly 65,000?
Correct.
Good. The other question is, if this commissioner, if the Centennial Commission, the general public or residents of the Charleston Heights neighborhood want to read this survey, is there an online access that we can see?
We can put it, the link online, of course, yes.
Boy, I'm trying to make a way that this doesn't sound argumentative. I know you can find a way, but why is it not automatic? I mean, in other words, this commission funded $50,000 or $35,000. Why can't we read it rather than you having to go jump through hoops? Why is it not automatic?
It's not automatic because so we are working on the website, and that is another update later in this meeting. Excuse me. We don't really have a lot of people asking for these, but we are working on putting more of our surveys online, and it's just a matter of time, but we can put that one on there. Our survey catalog is accessible from that site, and we are able to put this on, yes.
So in other words, it's a question of time because of the website that you're involved in, and hopefully any timeline as to when everything will be available on the website.
Well, it's a work in progress, so we update it as often as we can. And
Mayor?
Yes.
Maybe we can hit pause on this one for, I think, maybe item 9, and we can get a little more deep into it. Because this is one of many, right, Bob?
Well,
there's a bigger discussion here.
The answer is yes, but there should be just an easy way. We have the documentaries online. I'm just surprised that the city is not providing this and sending out a news release at least to the residents in that area, that if you want to find out about the history of your neighborhood, here it is, folks. And I guarantee you that there would be, I suspect that there would be lots more interest in reading this document from the neighbors in that area as well as the rest of the public if they knew this thing existed. So, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We'll move on to agenda item 7, which is 230604 CLC1, discussion for possible action regarding approval of the contract number 240081DG with KME Architects to create the Historic West Side Design Guidebook for commercial and residential properties located in the historic West Side, an area roughly bounded by Owens Avenue, Interstate 15, Martin Luther King Boulevard, and this is in Ward 5 with Councilman Creer.
Seabrant, for the records, this is the item that was discussed at our last meeting, and the funding was approved in the amount of $209,255, and the contract has been written. This is just, we need an approval to move forward with the contract to finalize it.
So we want to put it in action by approving this then, because everything
Correct.
is in order and signed?
Correct.
Then approved. Councilman Creer?
Yes, without discussion, I'll make a motion for approval.
Thank you. There's a motion to approve. Can I have a second, please? Yes. We have a second and a third. Bob Coffin, all in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries.
Excuse me, Commissioner Brown, is that a yes?
Yes.
Thank you.
I didn't get out fast enough. You got out, but not in fast enough. Okay, agenda item 8, 230605 CLC1, discussion for possible action regarding the funding in the amount of $1,450,760.68 to Boyd Productions to produce Part 7 through Part 10 of the documentary film series The City of Las Vegas, covering the years 1970 to 2005. And Mr. Floyd, if you would. Any comments on this?
Well, Seabrant, for the record.
Okay.
So just, this is going along with our push on multi-year funding. Again,
Yes.
that it is, it's easier for everybody to do the multi-year funding if that is something that the commission wants to continue to do. And for the films, so the first one will be 1970, the second one will be 1980s, the third will be the 1990s, and then the fourth will be the last installment that will cover the first 100 years as a bit of a summary and culminate with the Centennial celebration in 2005.
And at the end of each year will be complete on that amount, including any inflation, and any residue would roll over back to the commission, or just go towards what?
Correct. So they would finish the first year of the 1970s, and again, they have to show us proof that they completed the work, and then we pay them. And then the second year will be the same. They do the work, we pay them. The third year, they do the work, we pay them.
And how have you figured those increases?
This is the proposal from Boyd Productions, and they were the ones that are proposing this as their cost of living increases for each year.
And any request by the commission year in, and they can be asked to come in and propose or make comment?
I'm sorry, do you wanted?
They can be asked to come in on each year. Obviously, if there's any leftover, are you going to push that forward, and are you recommending it go forward into the next year?
Since they do have the total, we would stand by what it is for each year that they've budgeted for. So if they didn't use all the funds for year one, then I'd have to talk to finance to see if we wanted to roll it back or just put it into the next year. But since the total would be whatever the commission agrees to, if it's this 1.4 plus change.
And what they would have to come back if there's any adjustment to any of these years at this time. This is solely COLA increase, inflation, anything else in here?
Correct. So if there was a change in contract, that they would be asking for a different money amount, it would have to be an amended contract, yes, or in addition to that.
And this is automatic unless something happens today. This is what the request is, and it's just a bookkeeping item that we are funding. to the amount of $1,450,000 and change. These are the years.
Correct, and so to keep in mind after we received our finance
Better
report is how much is
planning
in
and
the
everything
bank,
for them.
and then it's the determination the commission can make as far as if you want to earmark. Again, we don't pay them the 1.4 right now.
Correct.
It's after each year, and so remember, you do get money each quarter.
Right. Okay, any questions, comments? I see Governor, please.
I have one.
Senator.
I take it that this COLA is built into the contract,
Yes, that's
the cost of
what
living adjustment? Yeah.
It's whatever the
No,
proposal is that the.
Yeah, I'm just saying, we have a contract with them, as I understand. No?
Well, we have a contract for the film they're currently working on, so
Okay.
this would be the next, a new contract. And if it's the cost of living would be factored into that, yes, that is what the contract is.
But I guess what I'm asking is contractually, the city is obligated to consider the cost of living adjustment with each contract they submit to us? Is that the way it works? In other words, I don't know that a COLA is automatic. I don't know. If
They
it's
figured
in
it
there,
in.
Val probably knows.
I think what Diane is saying, Val Steed for the record, is that they have included what they think will be the cost of living in those contract amounts. If it's higher than that, they don't get more money. If it's lower than that, they've already worked it in. In other words, we're not going to analyze the actual cost of living every year. They've built it into their budget request.
But I guess, Val, what I'm asking is that the original contract or whatever additions provides that they are entitled to a COLA? That's the question I really have.
I don't think that it addresses COLA at all.
So who decides, well, look, clearly we know that there's a cost of living increase, but who decides it? If we're not obligated to pay it, if there's nothing contractually that obligates us, then why are we paying the cost of living adjustment?
Let me try this again.
And I'm sorry, I may not be clear on the question.
They could have come to you with a proposal that didn't include any cost of living. And you might have said to them, why don't you expect costs to increase? They go, no, we're willing to eat it. What they've done instead is propose as the basis for each of those amounts that you see a cost of living.
And that's in the contract, I take it.
Well, the contract is not going to say cost of living. The contract is going to say these amounts.
Yeah.
They factor it in. Nobody has to talk about it anymore if you approve it.
I guess the point that I'm making, and I may not be clear on this, if it doesn't provide for a cost of living adjustment, why would the city volunteer to pay 2%, 1%, or anything? Am I making any sense here?
I think if you don't like cost of living, you say we're not going to approve. I make a motion not to approve these amounts because they include costs of living that I don't want to.
Okay, all right, thank you.
John Mowbray here
Yes,
for the
John
record.
Mowbray.
So basically, this is just a projection over the next 3 years. We are not going to vote on granting these amounts today for the next 3 years, correct?
Yes, you are. You're going to vote. So the way it works is somebody provides us a proposal.
Okay.
They can propose whatever they want. You don't have to agree to their proposal. So if the commission agrees, so this is their proposal, if the commission agrees to this amount, that is what we will pay them. If the commission does not want to pay them this amount, then we have to ask them to come back with this different proposal, and that proposal will then come before the board. So you are voting yes or no if you approve of this funding. And then once the funding is approved, then we work on the contract. The contract's not written. I can't write the contract until we get approval from the board.
No, I understand. John Mowbray again. Well, then, it's kind of like paying for something you don't know what you're going to get.
We do that for every single grant and every single contract that we award.
But at least we don't have these grants for year 2 or year 3 or year 4 in front of us right now. The backup, in other words, for this. Do we?
So they will, if you read the backup, it does say in there that they will provide those each year for
Right,
approval.
But as of right now, on the 27th of November, 2023, we don't have the actual grants for year 2, 3, and 4, right?
Yes, this is the grant request, and if in fact cost of living increase is 3 or 4%, they're, according to Mr. Steed, they're eating that differential, because this will be the maximum we will be paying, under this contract unless I'm incorrect in that interpretation.
Maybe I'll take a stab.
Yes?
You want to go? I don't want to step on you.
I just want to,
Sorry.
thank you. I do want to get this out of the way. Can I? This is, I think it's kind of extraordinary because COLA is built into any bid you make for anybody. You don't then add X amount of percents or dollars for the COLA, which is already built in. Now you're going to get it twice this way. They had that in their mind. I mean, you just know it. Also, we don't see a market basket from which this COLA would be calculated. And as you know, Diane, there's lots of market baskets about or inflation. I don't know what the market basket would be chosen for this kind of industry, but you have to select it. You can't just say the consumer, and you can't just say the wholesale. You know, it's like there's so many of them. So I just point that out. If we go any further, I'm not sure we are going to approve it, but I did want to make sure that that was part of the deal. We have it. It's already built in there, and this is gravy, I think. Thank you.
Go.
Commissioner touched on some of it. I guess I was just going to try and get clarity. I realize we kind of set somewhat of a precedent with getting multi-year contracts before us. So I guess my question, Diane, is what brought us to this type of a proposal? I'm a little perplexed why and yes, the COLA, I don't even know why it's even on here. It's puzzling.
So as discussed, we have been awarding multi-year grants. And if the commission wanted to continue with this production company, then it would be easier if we did the multi-year funding. If you don't want to do the multi-year funding, you don't have to. This is merely a proposal.
Okay.
If I could, Mayor?
Please, let's get
Yeah,
going.
I'm just curious what we paid on the original ones. It seemed like they were more in the 250 range. I could be off.
I think the original was 200,000, I believe. Can you look at that?
210, something like that. Yeah. It was in the 200,
All right,
250
so it's a
range.
pretty significant increase.
Well, Mayor, I'm not going to be voting in favor of the agenda item as it now stands. From the very start of the Centennial Commission funding of these documentaries on the development of the city of Las Vegas, there were in our three basic goals. And each goal is supposed to be part of the contract with the production company. A documentary covering each decade funded, and from each documentary a series of 12 or more vignettes from 1 minute and 30 to 2 minutes in length. And 3, at the end of each documentary production, the city of Las Vegas, its television station, its communication department, would receive all of the raw, unedited video assets that the city paid for, including the interviews, the photographs, and the historic footage that was purchased for each documentary, and the city would have the rights to all of this material. The goal is to develop a video library of the history of the city of Las Vegas to be used for the communication department, the city's television station, as well as for social media and any other video productions that the city felt was important. In reading the proposed agreement before the commission, at the bottom of page 2 and at the top of page 3, it says, quote, Boyd Production currently has a Las Vegas digital library of over 10,000 photos and moving pictures. Boyd has this material of the city of Las Vegas that the Centennial Commission paid for. And then turning to page 19 in the Boyd letter, the requirement that all gathered video assets for each documentary is to be turned over to the city is not listed in one of the deliverables that Boyd says it's going to deliver. Until these matters are corrected in the proposed contract, as well as the determination of what material has already been turned over, if any, to the city's communication and television department, I will not support one or more additional years' productions by the funding by the Centennial Group to Boyd Productions. I just can't. Building a library of video history that the city of Las Vegas had and didn't have to rely on any other government entity was just an essential part of this documentary. I have not seen any of it being used on social media So I'm just at a loss, and then now I see this, and they say, well, we're not going to give you that, but we're keeping the 10,000 images. That's just totally wrong, and I'm really upset with Boyd Production in regards to this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Stephen, for the record, I just want to clarify that we do have all of the raw material. It was provided. After each film, Boyd sends us a DVD or a hard drive with all that information on it.
A DVD is not acceptable. A DVD is the cheapest, lowest form, breakable. It needs all to be on a hard drive. And who has this material?
We have it.
I'm going to be out of line. So who is we? Does the communication department have it? Does the TV station have it? The TV station, I know, does not have it.
It's in my office. So.
Well, before I vote on this, I need a complete accounting of what they have delivered, and why it's not in this why it's not a deliverable in this agreement.
Well, we can go back to them and put that in the contract. I mean, what they have here is what they're proposing, but again, when we write the contract, we also put in the items we wish them to provide to us. We would include that, and then Boyd is given that. I mean, this not just Boyd, anybody we write a contract with. We then send them the contract, and then they read it over, and then they agree or disagree, and this all goes through our contracts office and our city attorney's office. As far as
again, I'm not sure what the rest of the commission is going to do, but unilaterally, I can't vote for any more money with Boyd until I have a real sense that they have met for the last 6 years all of the fundamental agreement of turning over. They say they've got 10,000. It should say that the city of Las Vegas has 10,000. Thank you, Mayor.
So with this, is this a point that we want to go ahead and table this for now and have that discussion?
I would
Or do you want
move
to
to
do
table
it
this.
today?
That's-
Okay, I see hands out on buttons. Yes?
I'm sorry, yeah.
No, I didn't mean that, Senator. I'm looking down.
Oh, I'm
Mr.
sorry,
Mowbray.
I'm sorry.
Were you about to?
No, move to table.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then,
I'll second that. Commissioner Mowbray, he always takes priority over me, so I second the motion.
We're getting generational here, you know that.
He's a much younger man. Okay.
But with doing that, I mean, there is a motion and a second on it. Before I ask for the vote, how would you handle this, Ms. Seabrandt? Because obviously, would you like to hear the rest of the concerns, questions now, so at least when it's brought back, or Mr. Floyd, yes, you're shaking your head, I can see.
Yeah, Mayor, Seth Floyd for the record. It would be helpful if the idea is to table it so that we can bring it back with some additional information, just making sure we have all the information the commission wants. I know we want the history of the cost of the previous contracts. We'll have that ready. Commissioner Stoddall just mentioned an accounting of the data, pictures, and otherwise that we've received from Boyd Productions. We can have that ready. If there's anything else, we'll make sure we have that prepared when the items
Well, what
come
I'd
back.
like to do is get that information before I get the vote, because I'm pretty sure I can get the vote, and then to table it, but I want to make sure that we just don't go into another meeting without the questions for you specifically to answer. But I'm hearing a yes, but.
Mayor, I'm wondering if it makes sense for us to just have a future item for board priorities, and we can lay out what our expectations are moving forward. There's a number of these things that are coming up, and you can hear the frustration from a number of us on the board. Instead of having, and I referenced item 9 last time, I meant item 10, instead of just having a blanket item on there, can we have something specific, or maybe it's a special, I don't know how to do it, but I feel we need to provide some stronger direction of what we're expecting here on the board for our future. And there's some key elements that we've been talking about for the last couple of years that have just been missing. So that's my piece. And I think this could be part of that.
Member Hilton.
This is Louise Helton for the record. It seems to me that when somebody's asking us for this amount of money, it would be appropriate for them to appear in person so we can have a question and answer session and get that, instead of having to use the staff as a go-between, and especially to only have a one bite at that apple. I think it would be appropriate in the future to have them come and present what they'd like to do. Because they've done a great job. We have no bones about that. It's just a matter of trying to figure out which way we want to go forward.
Well, and I must respond to that. While I think that's excellent, it's horrible to stand up in front and be bombarded with things that I don't even have an insight into the question, so that's one. But most specifically, because I remember Member Creer, when he was seated down there at his first meeting, recommended we consider a 2-year contract so they don't have to slow down. You can plan ahead, and which I thought was good, and we did pass that 2 years in some circumstances and for obvious reasons. But what I'd like to do is I would like to ask you, Dr. Seabrandt, one, I think it is very important, Member Arnold's, as well as these other comments, right now to get you the questions, and then in the future plan to have the individual coming forward to present on those. And so the thing is, at this point, I don't know whether to go ahead and ask for, ask for the vote and get it passed, that we're going to table it, and then get you the questions. But I think future agenda items and discussion, as Member Arnold said, is a very good thing to put on the agenda for you and the commission.
Once, still off of the record, there's my question to answer Seth's question is, I'm not going to be comfortable voting for a 3-year deal. I'm only going to, would be comfortable in voting for a documentary from 1970 if all the other elements are in the agreement, but I'm not comfortable for, in this particular case, we did it for, I think, 2 or 3 other groups. We did it for the Plaza Hotel, and I think for El Dorado and Home and History. I think we did it for a couple of others.
Yeah.
But not at this case. If it comes up and it's a 3-year deal next time, I'm going to be voting no. I'll vote yes on a 1-year deal if the stuff moves forward. So I'm not sure of if we just table this, that means the 3-year deal would come back. Could we change the 3-year deal at the next board meeting to just vote on a 1-year deal? I asked that of legal counsel.
Normally when you table something, the idea is, the expectation is that somebody will bring it back at some point. It could be brought back in connection with another distinct application, and then the table item could be stricken. Lots of options.
But if the only thing that comes back is a 3-year proposal, we would either vote on the 3-year proposal up or down. We couldn't say, let's just do 1 year.
No, I think you can approve something both in lesser amount and a lesser span of time. I think it's included within that.
Right.
So let me go ahead and ask for the vote on this to table it, and that would be, when will we come back?
Our next meeting is January 22nd.
There's one question I'd like to add to the comments. Excuse me, Commissioner Prado. I just have one question. As long as they're coming back, think they can bring a reason why the production costs from the started out at $200 or $250. All of a sudden, it's an average of $370,000 for a 3-year period. No explanation of the production increase costs, and wanting an inflation cost of 2% per year. You would think they could shove that in their pocket and just, not even bring it up. I mean,
plus they already have 10,000 photographs of Las Vegas.
Yeah. So I mean, and I'm being serious here. The production cost should actually be less, because the startup and production of anything is the highest cost of all. And now you bring everything into the picture and you move forward, it should not rise as much, but I'm not a movie company.
Good point. Those are questions. I think this is the time, if it's permissible in this venue, to just ask the questions for Dr. Seabrandt to get answers to. So please, let's have them. But I think we have a motion and a...
I just have
Second.
one quick question,
Yes.
Madam Mayor. Is there a timeline, a time frame that we would be infringing upon if we table this?
A good question.
So all the movies do air on the city's birthday. That's on or about, well, the city's birthday is May 15th, and we always premiere the movies whichever Saturday is closest to that. So that is a deadline we do have to adhere to. And so if we came back in January, because of the cost of anything over $100,000 needs to be ratified by city council, so it would have to go to city council, so we're adding more time to it. So that probably wouldn't happen until February or March. I also did just want to say that for Commissioner Stoddard's question about the images, my understanding from Boyd Productions is that it's for research and background knowledge of that, including those 10,000 images. But they are in our, and it is city property, we do have it. So that was two answers, so I'm sorry, but as far as denying this and coming back with a new proposal, it would add more time to it, yes.
And so what is the timeline that we have to have this done by?
A year from May. The 60s is already in the can.
So they usually do it in a year. So if we started, I'm sorry, I don't have the 2024 schedules in front of me, but if it's a January 22nd meeting, it wouldn't go to city council until sometime mid to late, no, it'd probably be late February to early March. And then we wouldn't be able to start until mid to late March. Now that's just off the top of my head. It may be delayed till April, so I need to look at the agenda or the schedules.
I think Member Stoddard has it.
And I do concur
We don't need to
about
worry about when it comes out.
I do concur about the increased costs. I would want to understand what that is all about. And then I am very shocked that someone who is looking for resources from this commission is not here in person to present their, I haven't seen that, especially for this amount of money, just FYI.
Okay, any other
Mayor, just one
questions,
quick
comments? Yes, please, because
I hear this
Diane's
talk that
getting
they've
them.
got it, they've turned it over. Is there anything in the contract that obligates them, in case we get into a discussion later, that no, we don't give you this, you'll get this? I mean, are they legally obligated to turn this over to the city?
Yes, because of the contract. And they have turned everything over to the city. The
Well, no,
city
I'm-
has
I'm-
all the information.
I understand that. Are they legally obligated? So in case we get into a discussion, I hope it doesn't turn into a difficult issue, but if we do, we need to make sure that they're legally obligated to provide this, rather than debating whether well, you get this, but you don't get that. That's a question I think I have,
And if you would, Dr. Seabrandt, too, the comments were made and repeated to be sure they answer the questions or be prepared to answer questions about the cost increase between wherever we started, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, to the cost of the contract proposed year by year here. And so please, anything else you want Dr. Seabrandt to include in the questions, so when they come, and the date specific that we'll put this on the agenda will be?
Again, if it's tabled, it's not coming back until somebody puts it on the agenda. If you want it held, if you want it heard in January or March or any specific meeting, then you hold it in abeyance.
So I could hold it in abeyance to the January meeting, and that would guarantee that our January meeting, which is January 27th, this will be heard.
Yeah, it'll be on the agenda, but that doesn't mean that Boyd is able to be here, if you see what I'm saying. So that's the problem with them not being here.
Yeah, this is $1 million.
Okay, so let's just, well, there's a motion, we have a motion, well, we didn't vote on it. So whoever made the original motion, I think Mr. Arnold?
That was Commissioner Mowbray.
No?
Made the original motion.
Would you rescind that with whoever did the second, so I can move to have it obeyed to the 27th?
Yes, so rescinded.
Okay, so I would make a motion to have it on the agenda for January 27th, if I can get a second to that.
Excuse me, Mayor, that would be January 22nd.
Misunderstood. January 22nd. Does that work
Yes.
on everybody's calendar? You're not taking a vacation to any place special? January, all right. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And thank you, the motion carries. And what I would ask, please, if you think of anything else that you want to add for the questions to be given up front to the team or whoever is going to be here, which I would assume it is, I think it's Virginia, but please give them to Diane Seabrandt or Seth Floyd, but preferably Diane Seabrandt, so we can include those questions and they can be prepared one by one to answer them. So, and she's D. Seabrandt, and that's E-I or I-E?
Actually, yes, you can send it to me, but please send them to Teresa T. Smith at cityoflasvegas.gov.
Do it again?
Yeah, she's easier to remember than I am.
Okay.
I have a
do it
longer name.
again. The email, please.
Everybody should have it. It's T. Smith at City of Las Vegas, or sorry, LasVegasNevada.gov. Everybody should have it because Teresa emails everybody all the time.
Okay. And you spell Smith, S-M-I-T-H.
Capital.
Yeah. No, it could be S-Y, or it could have an E on it. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to agenda item 9, 230606 CLC1, discussion for possible action regarding approval of the 2024 Commission for the Las Vegas Centennial meeting schedule.
Seaburn for the record, so this is the 2024 scheduled meeting. The only meeting that has been changed is May 13th. That's out of order, but that is still on a Monday at 2 p.m. Everything else is the regular schedule of the fourth Wednesday, Monday, every other month.
And do we need a motion to approve?
Yes, because as soon as it's approved, it'll be put on the website.
So moved.
I've got it moved. A second, please. Second. There's a second down there. Who said that? Yay. Member Greer with a move by Commissioner Member Stodall. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to agenda item 10, report by the Executive Director of the Commission of Las Vegas Centennial regarding completed projects and announcements relative to the Commission for the Las Vegas Centennial.
Seabart for the record. So for the Centennial projects, we do have the column on the left are all in progress, including the radio documentary, the 1960s documentary, West Side documentary, and El Dorado documentary, as well as the La Concha lobby upgrades and the classic Las Vegas digital collection. And the projects on the right have been completed. That was the 2023 rodeo, the Old Time Reunion, and Duck Duck Shed 2023, and they will all be in for their final reports in January or March.
And we did not call the Las Vegas Days Rodeo this year, the El Dorado Rodeo again?
No, not this year.
Okay, thank you. Do you want?
Oh, I'm sorry, I have more.
Okay.
And so two updates. Boyd Productions, as they are working on the 1960s, are asking for any home movies or images that anybody from the commission may have. Also for the 1970s. If you do have anything and you wish to contribute, send that information to myself and Teresa so that we can get it, we can compile everything and put it, give it all to Boyd. And then Commissioner Arnold did ask about the website at the last meeting and an update on that, and I'm going to let Director Floyd take over here in a moment. But all commissions, including this commission, are part of the city's website. That is a requirement that all boards that are nominated by City Council, which this board is, are required to be on the city website. And I'll let Director Floyd take over from here, but I do, Jeff, if you could bring up the webpage, and so we can show you exactly where this landing page is. As far as we've been adding information, we update it as often as we can. It does have to go through communications, and then communications updates this information, but I'll let Seth go, and then if anybody wants me to flip through this internet, I will.
Thanks, Diane. Seth Floyd for the record. Yep, sorry, snuck behind Diane. I decided to come up here because I sit so far down. So, but Diane actually covered a lot of it. So it's come up, the Centennial Commission and the Historic Preservation Commission have a lot of content. A lot of our boards, and I've represented almost all of them in one fashion or another, a lot of them just don't have the level of content that the Centennial Commission and the Historic Preservation Commission do. In fact, Diane, if you'll go also, there should have been another link in that email to the, or maybe this is for Jeff, to the LasVegasNevada.gov, the Historic Preservation website. Are you driving, Diane, there? I am driving. So the tab that's for historic preservation, I was just going to show you some examples of everything that we have on the website. But what Diane was just showing you is the landing page for the Centennial Commission. And we can put a lot of information on that landing page. In fact, what we have on there currently is a list of members, a list of projects and events that we funded, both in picture form. We have links to the YouTube video for the early years, which you can then go through and sequentially watch. We have information about the meeting. Yeah, here's the history page. So between that and the Historic Preservation tab, and you can scroll through. And by the way, we have a fairly newish website. So if you haven't been to our website in a while, the color scheme is new. Diane, if you could just go back to the history. Okay. Diana's learning how to use the mouse here. There we go. Oh, got it. So you'll see there's a lot of information off of our main historic preservation page. And in fact, it even has a link up there at the top to the Centennial Commission. You can go to our landing page. So a lot of information that is related to both what you do and the projects that you funded are available on the website. And so I would encourage you, Diane or Teresa can send out the links to both of these landing pages so you can explore those if you haven't already. I know that in the past there has been some discussion, and I think Diane addressed this, about the Centennial Commission having its own separate website. The challenge with that is that by city policy, and just so you know, it's not just because we like to control everything. There's a reason why we centralize our website. It has to do with branding and security primarily. Obviously, we want to keep a consistent brand with all of the boards and commissions that we oversee: Planning Commission, Arts Commission, Centennial Commission, Historic Preservation Commission, and others. And the other reason is security. It's much easier for us to manage the security of our website when we control the website. But what we can do, and this is where we could use your feedback, is add material to that landing page for the Centennial Commission. So anything that's not on there or you don't feel like is being presented in an easy to access way, we have a whole communications team that manages our website. We can certainly change the configuration. We can add materials. We can make it easier to find. There is a tab off of our main page, Historic Preservation. From the last annual, we get an annual report on what's popular on our social media and on our web pages. Historic preservation is fairly popular as far as things that people are searching for when they search for history of Las Vegas or City of Las Vegas, and when they go to our website. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, accept any feedback and comments that you have, so that we can help to improve our website.
Any comments, questions, please? I must add, though, I don't know what the number actually is, but I have heard from our head of our technology, our everything to do with the internet, the number of attempts at getting through into the city confines is well into the thousands. And so that makes sense that everything is as tightly controlled as possible. And I hadn't thought of that at all when the question first came up. So, Member Stoddall, please. You did want to ask something.
I think that there are significant Stoddall, for the record, I think that there are significant all uppercase opportunities for improvement, both facts that are incorrect on the historic site. We've worked together to correct these. Technically, you can't print in some of these reports. They just don't, they're not printable the way that they're laid out. To me, it is, I have no idea how big a staff handles this, but the updates should be in lowercase because they're not really updated that frequently. I'm so proud of the city of Las Vegas and serving the city of Las Vegas. I want the best for the city of Las Vegas, and this is not the best. We're an international F1 community, and we should be better than this. And to all the folks that are working on our social media and the website, I apologize. I have no reason why the survey report that we had a final report on, why that is not, once it has been received and approved by a public body and by the city council, it should automatically go there. It's there? Is it there now? But there's a whole series. The city of Las Vegas, through one of its grants, funded a research project to contact every entity from the state of Nevada to the university to Department of Transportation, any reports, any documents that were done on the history or were done on the community of Las Vegas. We produced a catalog of those things. That catalog of all those documents talking about the history of our community, that should be on the website. It's not. And the answer is well, we're working on it. I think what I would like to suggest and potentially is that I know how hard the folks work, that maybe we need to fund some additional resource through the Centennial Commission that works on updating the history and the Centennial Commission so that that's updated on a regular basis and make it very user-friendly. Thank you.
So that is a nice recommendation. Any other questions, comments for Mr. Floyd? Yes, please, Member Allen.
This is Louise Helton for the record, and my concern is that in spite of the parameters you've outlined as far as branding, security, et cetera, none of us have even been consulted about what we think would be important to have there. You all are making those decisions completely independent of us, and there are so many wonderful things that we've funded that the links should be there at least. And there's not an inventory of these are all the things. You can get lost in anybody's website looking for things and never find them. But are they actionable? Are those a list or are those actionable? Can you click on that and go to it?
No, you can't.
That's what we need. You need to have something that's dynamic. A listing of everything that we've done and the millions and millions of dollars that we've spent since 2005 until now is not sufficient. It needs to be more dynamic so you can actually click on those and go see them.
Any other comments?
Mayor,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Arnold, I've got lots of thoughts on this, and Seth, we briefly spoke. I don't know that this is the venue. I'm frustrated, and I almost think it makes it worse looking at this list because it shows how much we've invested in so many great projects, yet that's all it is. And I'm embarrassed. So I don't know what the right venue is to express all of my thoughts on this. And again, I don't feel this is it. Maybe we can go back to the concept of doing a bit of a sidebar, little working group or whatever the appropriate terminology is. I know we had that battle some years ago. Mm-hmm. That would be my request, though. Allow some of us that have been here from the start to express what we would like to see, and then staff can tell us why it can't be done. and maybe we can figure out something that still makes everyone happy. But I will say it's better than what I looked at from the last meeting, but it's not there. So if it's a staffing issue that we need to get over, then that's a discussion that I think we should be a part of. And if we can fund something outside of the normal business, city business, I don't know why we can't have that discussion. So again, I feel like a separate venue would make more sense and would be far more productive for all of us. So that, again, that's my request.
Any other comments? Being someone who is listening to the public all the time through the eyes and ears of my office staff, or just through my own life, when people have the wonderful comments and see what's missing because of the lives and dedication and commitments you already have, I think it would really help, because I heard you say it. I'd love to have anybody on this commission write down exactly what it is. It's time consuming for sure, but then you have a real concrete ask, not just something that may be recorded at a meeting. And then the staff can pull everything together, take out duplication, and at least hit the priorities that are repeated. So I'm looking at this chart. I tend to agree. If I'm looking for something specific, I can pull it out by going down to the bottom in 2019, looking for something specific. But maybe one more column on this Excel spreadsheet that would have a number that if I go to it, I can then go see the Historic West Side Design Guidebook specifically, which is nothing more than inputting somebody on that has the time to enter the data, collect the images, and put them into the website. So it is an individual, it's time, and then there is a budget. The City Commission, the Centennial, has a budget. So I don't know how you do it, but I would ask, listening to you, Member Arnold, and certainly to everybody else that's made these recommendations, just type bullets up and get them to Diane, so at least she has, this is missing, and these are the priorities that we would like addressed.
So Mayor, Seth Floyd for the record, yeah, I think and maybe it would help for you all to know kind of how our process on this would work, Mayor, and to your point. So if we had a list of the concepts that you mentioned one about, what it sounded like to me was hyperlinking from a list to where you could get more information to that. If we had a list of those things, we can look and we can meet with and when I say our team, I don't just mean us, I mean with communications and IT as well, to figure out what's technically possible, what isn't, and what the cost is. And then if we need additional funding, and if it's going to be more than what our budget can handle, we can come back and ask for money from the Centennial Commission. That would be a starting point, and then we can identify what tasks we can complete and what that scope looks like.
And the reality is that the Public Information Office has priorities that they have to deal with, and so where does the Centennial Commission requests for use of the website come in to fit on that? So it's one, getting the information from your minds into concrete place where they can refer to it, then getting it to the department, to the Centennial Commission, and then it's just getting in and getting that reservation done with the public information. Again, considering the security of the internet for this city, which we can't allow certain information out. Once you break in one place, you have access to other things, and I know nothing about the internet. So it just seems to me it's communication. Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to make a suggestion. My company, we probably design 50 websites a year, give or take, and they're very cumbersome, and to be very honest with you, they can be a pain in the butt. And the reason why is that everyone has an idea of what should go on a website and what should be there. Some people have a $2,500 budget and they want a $50,000 website, and some people have a $100,000 budget and they don't want as elaborate, right? You can do brochure pages, you just put information up. You can really get as technical as you want to be, but it all has a cost, and we're giving you sort of comment up here, and that's also tough because you guys are attempting to hear everybody and come up with something. You're sort of guessing, and that makes it tough. And so I would suggest, and I don't know if we are legally able to create a subcommittee of this commission. I'd be happy to work with whomever is on the subcommittee, hosts at our office and schedule and get things together to help design a site map. What do we want? What does that look like? What are we trying to accomplish? Because I could also see this commission, we could be selling ourselves short, because I still think that the city of Las Vegas should have a city museum of some way, shape, or form, and maybe we look at creating an online City of Las Vegas museum first, and creating that content and creating what that looks like, and creating a section that talks about the Centennial Commission and work it does and the projects that it does, and then maybe we talk about the history of the city, the history of all the councils, the history of mayors, the history of the historic areas in our community, McNeil Estates, Scotch 80s, historically, and we really look sort of holistically about what we're looking to do. We create this sort of site map, then we present it back, the committee presents it back to the Centennial Commission, and then we give you all, whomever, it's an outside source, it's an inside source, whomever though, and we say it's going to cost, $100,000 to create this properly. And then we'll know exactly what we're looking for. We'll know exactly what we're looking to create, and then we can go out and create it. The process doing it now is I've got a thought, other commissioners have a thought, and you guys, and it's impossible. For one, this isn't your level of expertise either. You aren't communications folk. You don't design websites. You're excellent in what you do. You're subject matter experts in your fields, but this is not something that you're really looking to do. And then it can take into consideration also about the constraints that we may have with us being a city of municipality if we have it on the actual website. Maybe it's too restrictive to have it on the website. Maybe we need to go to have it outside. Maybe it's whatever. But we can flush all that out and then come back and truly say, this is a plan, this is what we want to do, and this is what it's going to cost. And the Centennial Commission could say, we want to fund that or we don't want to fund it. That makes sense?
So as I recall, Mr. Steed saying we can have a working group.
A working group, okay.
And if that is an idea for everybody, who would like to, please raise your hands if you would like to be on that committee.
I'll be on it.
1, 2, 3, and one more, 4. Okay,
Cocktails
would
at
you put
Stodall's.
down Member Helton, Member Stodall, Member Arnold, Member Coffin, and Member Creer.
And Mayor, just to add to the councilman's comments, I think that's all spot on, and maybe even the view is that we start as a Centennial website, but with the idea one day as the funding comes available, it does get expanded to the city museum website. It evolves. Yeah. But we already have the content for ours.
We can master plan it and phase it in.
So, Dr. Seabrand, you've got the names. Will you convene a time before the end of this calendar year for them, before the high holidays of Christmas and Hanukkah and everything that we have, and Kwanzaa coming, that at least you have one meeting in early December, since December's Friday? Okay? Thank you. Problem resolved. We'll watch everything you do for now.
Good job, Seth.
Problem resolved until the committee actually meets, and then we'll see where that goes. I'm just kidding. I had one other update, Mayor. You mentioned...
meetings that'll make it easier for everybody.
Oh, see, he's already trying to get out of it.
No,
He
I'd
wants
love
a
to come
wet
down here.
app.
Oh, I'd love to park in the
No, I'm
city.
kidding. Hopefully, you'll poll everybody and see if a Zoom or something else is easier. And several times it's easier. You don't have to drive with all these little cones. So thank you very much. That would make it easier. I'm all for that, too. Thank you very much.
And Mayor, I have one other update,
Yes.
as much as I want to sit down now. You mentioned the Las Vegas Days Rodeo. The city has acquired, I can't remember if we briefed on this part, the rights to the El Dorado name.
Yes.
And we have licensed that, if I'm using the right word, Val, to the plaza on an annual basis for use in their rodeo. So that will be the name of next year's version of the now back to El Dorado.
And again, we
Days
go
Rodeo.
back to the senator securing the name El Dorado, which originally was only to be used by, with certain exclusions, but then they changed their mind, gave it entirely to the city to decide how they use it. So, no, you are the man. So thank you very much. We appreciate it, and here's an opportunity for these agenda items. Thank you very much, Seth.
One more thing.
Yes.
And that is, as we're talking about El Dorado Rodeo, El Dorado event was held,
Get the date right.
1935.
We do have
Etched
that.
into your arm, I want to give Member Stoddall a tattoo that he can wear and sell.
about that for some time.
And I did have, sorry.
Go ahead, please.
Stephen, for the I did have one more update, and this was the question on hiring somebody for strategic planning. So first of all, before we can even go for that, I'll need all the commissioners to email us and let us know exactly what you're looking for, what exactly it is you're asking, and what exactly it is you want.
Got it?
So
Everybody's
please
got
do
it?
that. And then
Everybody's
Jeff, I
shaking
had one
hands.
more slide on that
Yes.
PowerPoint.
Are you escaping, Member Coffin? Or are you just holding up the wall?
I'm monitoring
Okay. You got that memo? Okay.
And then the last thing is just wanted to wish everybody happy holidays.
Thank you, but we're not there yet. We're on 11. Okay. Agenda item 11, discussion regarding topics for future agenda items. Here we are. Comments made during this portion of the agenda by individual members will refer solely to proposals for future agenda items. Any discussion shall be limited to whether or not such a proposal is within the purview of the commission and/or whether such proposed items shall be placed on a future agenda. No discussions allowed. So, any items for the future agenda? I can't believe it. We wore them out. Yes, here we go. Yes, no, you're it.
Other than the items we've already talked about, those will be on the next agenda.
Yes,
The website and the documentaries and,
right, Diane? Yes.
okay, thanks.
Okay, so now we'll go to 12, which is our second citizen participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the commission. No subject may be acted upon by the commission unless subjects on the agenda scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, come forward, give your name for the record, matter of discussion on any single subject as well as matter of time. Any single speaker is allowed, will be limited. Hearing and seeing none. This meeting's adjourned, and thank you very much. At 3:24 now, happy holidays is right, and Happy New Year. Happy New Year 2024.